How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Must Start Wide Receivers Week 6. This is 14P Fantasy, and I'm your host, Justin Wright. Again, like I just said, we're talking 3 guys you should be starting in your lineups that are probably in flex consideration, maybe your wide receiver 2 spot potentially. But either way, if you have them, you need to be starting these 3 players. And if you're looking for, who do I bench in place of them? Go check out the must avoid wide receivers for Week 6. We got 3 names over there as well. Let's get into it. So the first name here, Emmanuel Sanders versus the Tennessee Titans. He's all over our content this week, honestly. He's in my Studs and Duds episode. He's probably going to be in Marco's streaming episode as well, coming out tomorrow, or if you're watching this on Thursday. And the reason is, it's pretty obvious. He's on a hot streak. He's got 4 touchdowns over the last 3 games. He now gets the worst passing defense in the NFL as far as wide receivers go. And, the Bills are on fire. Their offense is humming along. Josh Allen looks like an MVP candidate again. You just want a piece of this offense. Sanders, Dawson Knox, Stephon Diggs, all 3, you got to start them. Not that you were questioning starting Stephon Diggs, but the same goes for Sanders here. They've just been hot. The Titans have allowed 5 wide receiver 1 performances this year. It's been 5 weeks, so somebody's going to get one. That's really what it's about, and why not Emmanuel Sanders? He's on a hot streak right now. Number 2 on the list is Michael Pittman versus Houston. On paper, if you're using ESPN or Sleeper, you're going to see the matchup doesn't look great, and it's not in theory. 26th overall for points allowed, just under 31 points a game, 2 wide receivers. However, those points get isolated on the top end wide receivers. They have 4 games over 17 points allowed to an individual wide receiver. And right now, Michael Pittman is the guy in Indy. Yeah, T.Y. Hilton's coming back to practice, but Michael Pittman and Carson Wentz they've meshed. He's essentially become Alshon Jeffrey, which is who Carson Wentz thrived with when he was in Philly. And Michael Pittman right now, over the last 4 games, is seeing just under 10 targets a game. He's been, a borderline wide receiver 2, mid-level wide receiver 2 the last 4 weeks. You got to play Michael Pittman if you have him, especially against Houston. On paper, like I said, it's not a great matchup, but the underlying numbers are elite wide receivers or top-end wide receivers perform well against Houston. And the last guy on our list here, Devonta Smith versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's week 6. If you're still on the notion of Tampa has this great defense and they can stop anybody and you avoid them, you got to get off of it. We've seen 5 weeks. It's a trend at this point. They're missing several pieces in the secondary and they can't cover anyone. That's just what it is. Again, we've only had 5 games. They've allowed 7 top 24 finishes and 4 top 12 finishes. Keep in mind, none of that came last week against the Dolphins, who are missing everybody and their starting quarterback. So really, 7 top 24 finishes, 4 top 12 finishes through the first 4 weeks. And on top of it, Devonta Smith is seeing constant volume or consistent volume. He hasn't had his blow-up game yet. He's been solid, not great. However, he's seeing just under 8 targets a game. And if you're looking at a flex wide receiver, that's exactly what I want out of a guy. Guaranteed volume with the upside, for 20 to 25 points in what's going to end up being a shootout. Philly doesn't want to run the ball. Everybody knows that. You can't run against Indy or against Tampa. So that means they got to throw, which means Zach Ertz, Devonta Smith should be in your lineups this week. All right, everybody. That is all we got today. As always, subscribe, drop comments, questions, whatever you have, start sits, trade stuff. I don't care. Send it. We'll answer as many as we can throughout the week. Follow us over on Twitter at 14P_fantasy and follow me on Twitter at Justin_14P. All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.